Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, Today, the subject we're going to talk about is robots and artificial intelligence, and particularly the danger of them taking over our jobs and create massive unemployment and push once again uh, the people down because it seems like every time there's a new economic revolution, um, the majority of the people, the lower paying people, are the ones that suffer the most because they lose their jobs or their jobs become uh, the salary of the jobs become much less, so they can't survive. We saw that throughout human history. Um, the Industrial Revolution in the the late 19th to early 20th century had pushed a lot of people into uh, meaningless, repetitive labor jobs in factories, and then they get paid less and less and less every single day, which then spawned communism, uh, and then later with the laws, labor laws to protect the workers and things like that. We saw it again in recent years with the internet revolution, with the computer revolution at first, and then now the internet revolution, and then the mobile computing revolution. Things like cell phones, um, YouTube, um, and all these things that allow um, people to do other things, creative, you know, to make money. But the drawback, of course, is that they create a whole new class of poor people, um, people that have been entrenched in the way they do things, which was manufacturing. You know, and they move on all manufacturing plants overseas, which then create a vacuum here in the United States. Um, so the next revolution that's going to cause problems would be the AI, the robotics revolution. And people tend to think that, well, that the robotics revolution and the AI revolution, they're not alarmed, especially the more educated, or I should say, degreed people. There's a difference between being educated and being degreed, highly degreed or highly educated. You can have a lot of degrees, you can go through a lot of schools, but yet still not educated. I found that out from talking to various people. You can have someone who never been to advanced education, and yet they highly knowledgeable uh, in a lot of subjects. You've seen that, and they become very successful in life um, without uh, years and years and decades of formal schooling. And then there are people that have a lot of formal schooling, but they don't know what they're talking about. All they do is repeat what they learn without any thinking, any connections to anything they learn. They just repeat it, regurgitate what they learn. Um, and they can't use what they already learned to assemble into new ways of thinking, new solutions. They can't synthesize. They can only repeat what they were told in school. So they're those people. But anyways, the subject is the robotics revolution. How are we going to solve this? Okay, because the robots are going to take over jobs. First, the labor jobs, uh, such as assembly line. We already seen that with if you look at a typical car factory today, uh, most of the uh, hardest labor jobs in factories are done by robots, like welding, chassis together and parts of chassis together and all that stuff. Assembling the robot. Um, the robots are even used to install dashboards now, which is historically been the purview of human beings because it requires more dexterity and things like that. So, but now they're doing it, you know. So there's very little jobs for humans in a car factory now. There are humans, of course, human factory workers, but every day it's less and less, of them are required to assemble a car. So at first, of course, the robots going to take over the labor jobs, the menial labor jobs first. But then they will also take over white collar jobs. And believe it or not, a lot of people are not aware of this. But jobs such as attorney. Okay, you're like, huh? Attorney's job? Most lawyers do not go to court and argue. Most attorneys' work involves research of cases and putting together, arguments so that, one or two top attorneys will go to court and argue. The other ones are just, they research laws and precedents, historical precedents of certain laws and stuff like that. So that can be done by artificial intelligence. In fact, from what I heard, there was a lawyer that, and this was done a few years ago. It's not recent even. So imagine what kind of technology they have today. But he actually got together with software engineers, I guess, and they wrote a program for a robot to sift through thousands and millions of cases, and assemble, relevant cases for the human attorney to review. Normally, it would take like weeks or even months to research things like that in volumes and volumes of cases in libraries, in law libraries. But now they can do it, on their desktop computer within seconds, and, at the most minutes. So things like that, can replace a lot of attorneys. And here's the question, okay? New attorneys, usually have to go through that time period where they work for a law firm or work for somebody more experienced, and they do all those research. And by doing so, they're very familiar with cases. They learn about the trade, basically, so that when they become more senior, they can go to court and they can argue. Well, with the robotics revolution and the artificial intelligence doing it for them, how are you going to grow attorneys? It's kind of like mid-level management to senior management. Okay, the senior management have to have gone through mid-level management and lower management first, right? He can't just jump from school to senior management without the experience in between, because then he won't be as effective. Because a lot of work involving management is people, and you can't just learn how to do that via a book, okay, or 2 or 10 or 20, or I don't care if you read through 1 billion books. Management requires practice, requires real life interaction with groups of people that you manage in order for you to understand and learn the trade and become more effective senior managers. So you have that challenge. But the effect of having artificial intelligence and robotics take over is that it will create it will take over a lot of jobs. So what's going to happen to the people, the workers, like today? They'll be pushed into low-paying service jobs, jobs that require humans interaction, but then their pay is a lot less. So you're going to get more unemployment or underemployment. Today, unemployment is not a problem, it's underemployment. That is, people work all right, but they have to work 2-3 jobs, 2-3 different jobs, and they don't make enough money, to live a decent life, even to survive. A lot of them end up living out of their car, and they have jobs, So, it's going to create a lot of problems, okay? Now, what's the solution? Some people say, well, got to get rid of that technology, ban it. Don't use it, Well, what that does is it stifles human creativity. It stifles, progress, technological progress. So you don't want to do that. Okay, that's not a solution. But I have a perfect solution. Okay, think about this. All right. He who owns the means of production in a society owns a society. Am I right? Okay, that has happened since the Industrial Revolution, or even before that. Right? Before that, you have the the royalties that own the peasants. The peasants produce, right? So the royalty owns the means of production, and the royalty became rich. They are, or they were the leaders of that society, whatever society it was. They're the richest, and they control the society. Okay. In the Industrial Revolution, the leaders of society, the people that influence society the most, are the captains of industry, right? They own corporations, right? The means of production, and so they became very rich, and so with their money they can influence politics. They can influence candidates, and policies that come out. So in effect, they were or are the royalty of today, right? They are the controllers, the movers and the shakers of society, right? Now in the future, he who owns the most robots, artificial intelligence, own the society. Okay, so the solution is to not allow the guys on top to own those things only. Okay, when I say not allow, I don't mean make laws to forbid them. Okay, they can do whatever they want. It's a free market society. What I'm saying is, the society, the lawmakers of today, they need to get ahead of the game. They cannot wait until it already happens and trying to ramrod the law into place, because they're going to have a lot of resistance from the people that already own and benefit from the robotics revolution, the owners of these robots. So what is the solution? Okay, it's very simple. Let me give you an example. Okay, today if you look at a typical factory, say a car factory, okay, you have hundreds or even thousands of robots making cars. I mean, welding chassis together, making door, they all owned by the company. Like, for example, if you're Toyota, if you Toyota owns all the Toyota robots. Am I right? All right. Of course, they bought it from robot makers. Okay, but they own the robots. Obviously, the robots are in their plant, their factories, and the robots make cars for them. Okay, now they own the robots, so they own the means of production, so they make a lot of money and they become very rich and influential. Okay, they don't have to hire workers, as much. Okay, because the robots are their workers. The robots are more efficient than humans. They can work 24/7 if you want to. They don't take vacation breaks. They don't have employee rights, labor laws, nothing. Okay, you can work them till their arm falls off, and then you put another arm on there, and a new one, and then back to work they go. Can't do that with a human being. A human being's arm comes off, man, you're in trouble, right? You're in big trouble, and it takes a long time, to get that worker back to work again, because of the medical bills and everything that you got to pay for and all that stuff. So it costs a lot more money, with the live workers. So no wonder companies are trying to to sidestep having too many employees. Okay, but the solution is not to force them to hire more employees. That's not a solution. It's not a free market. Okay, so here's the solution. Like I said, okay, so then today you have robots that the corporation owns. Okay, what you need to do is lawmakers. Okay, what they need to do is pass a law. The local lawmakers, I'm not talking about federal, I'm talking about the local municipalities, and cities, and counties and state. Okay, let's say a car company, let's say I have a new car company, okay, and I want to build a manufacturing plant in your state, in your hometown. All right, today of course they have incentives for those companies to come in to create jobs and things like that. All right, now once they come in there and the technology of AI improves, they're gonna start to get rid of jobs and replace them with robots. Okay, to prevent that from happening, I would pass a law. If I'm a lawmaker in that county or state, I would say, okay, you can build your plant here. Here are the incentives for you to build plants here, but 30% of your robots must be owned by our local citizens. All right, and here's how you can create millionaires. You can create owners, not workers, owners, of robots. So let's say, and then you announce it out. They announce, okay, Toyota plant is, the Toyota company is building a new plant in, Boomtown country or whatever, right? And you can own one of the robots, that produce these cars, and the robot say costs $100,000, So you as a citizen, instead of you going to work for Toyota to build cars, you go to the bank and apply for a loan to buy that robot that will produce the car parts for Toyota. Okay, so you're the owner of that robot. $100,000. If you don't qualify for that much, you get two guys together, right? So you borrow $50,000. Your friend borrows another $50,000 from the bank, and then you buy the robot. You don't even have to see the robot. You don't have to go and pick up the robot. Toyota will do all that for you. Okay, they will install the robot. From the robot manufacturer, we install it in the Toyota plant. Your name will be on the robot. You have to manage the robot. You have to upgrade the software when needed, and you have to watch over the robot, basically. So you sign a contract with Toyota. Let's say the robot is a door making robot. Okay, makes doors for cars, right? So you sign a contract with Toyota. Toyota would say, okay, every month, you guys must produce. Your robot must produce this many doors, okay? And if you don't produce this many doors with this quality, we'll just cancel your contract, okay? So your job as a robot owner, you and your partner as a robot owner, is to ensure, okay, that your robot produce that many doors a month for Toyota, okay? And however many doors that is, the Toyota company pays you for that many doors. That meets a certain specification, certain quality, all that stuff, right? So you then become the owner of a robot worker, right? So you manage that robot, and you get paid by Toyota for managing that robot. So then it's your job. Toyota no longer has to maintain the robot, right? Because it's not theirs anymore. It's yours, okay? They only have to ensure that you produce. So they save money, don't they? They save money from purchasing the robot and maintaining the robot. So they happy, right? They happy. They don't have to worry about that. They pay you one price, okay? They say, okay, you produce this many doors a month, I'll pay you that much. That's it. I don't care about, workers' compensation. I don't care about healthcare for workers. That's your problem. Okay, I pay for the doors. All right, I'm not paying your workers. I don't care what happens. So then they're happy because they save a lot of money from having to deal with employees and benefits and all that stuff. Save a lot of money. You're happy. Why? Because you don't have to own one robot. You can, but once you become successful, you can buy 2, 3, 4 from different companies, right? And you provide the service that your robot produce for those different companies. So you have different streams of income because you're a manager of those robots. You are the boss, okay? You are the boss of the workers. Instead of the workers being humans, the workers are robots. You see how this works, okay? So then you're happy because now you become very rich. You're not limited. You can own as many robots as you want, okay? So in other industries too, And when robot cars come out, you can own robot cars too, that give rideshare or whatever, okay? So then you happy. You create jobs, income for yourself, don't you? You see that? And a lot of people can do that. Everybody can do that. You don't have to become a worker anymore if you don't want to. You can own the means of production. You share in the means of production. You see, that's how you prevent, a society prevents unemployment. People might say, wow, that's limited, It's not limited to just producing cars. They got robots that produce everything now. Toys, all right? Holiday doodads. Christmas tree, Christmas decorations. During the summer, you produce goggles, masks for pools and, snorkeling gear, surfboards, boogie boards, floaties, You see what I'm saying? You know, every season. In fact, you can use multiple task robots. You know, nowadays with the technology, they can come out with a robot that can do different tasks. And then you can move the robot. Let's say for the summer, your robot produces those summer toys. All right. But once the summer comes to a close, you know, you can move the robot, or you can make the robot, reprogram the robot to produce Christmas decorations, different season, Thanksgiving, you know, things like that. So there's always work. And here's another thing too: if you have intelligent robots, okay, you can come up with 3D printing artwork, lamps and furniture and, you know, jewelry and, you know, all that stuff using 3D printed computer controlled robots. And it's limited only to your imagination, right? Let's say you're an artist and you want to create artwork to sell, all right? And let's say you come up with a new design for a lamp, okay? A lamp, all right? So you decide, okay, I'm going to produce only 100 of these lamps. And each lamp I'm going to charge, I don't know, $350, whatever, okay? It's a very unique lamp. You design it. It came from your mind, nobody else. It's, of course, copyrighted, right? It's protected, so nobody can copy it, okay? It's one of a kind. So after you produce 100 of these things, you break the mold, and, you know, there's nothing like that ever again. So then you sell unique products, you know, that your robot 3D printing machine produces based on the plan that came from your mind. You see what I'm saying? And it's unlimited. You can come up with anything. Cell phone cases that are unique, right? I mentioned lamps. How about furniture? How about jewelry? How about dresses and clothing? Did you know that nowadays they have 3D printed dresses and clothing, hats, right? It's unlimited, you know. You're all independent, you know, producers of these products. It's very unique. See, now with the technology of computers and AI, you can produce unique products, you know, not like today where you know, you have a manufacturing of a shirt, for example. They produce millions of these or hundreds of thousands of these shirts, right? And then they try to sell them at, you know, retail stores or whatever, okay? Well, with artificial intelligence and 3D printing, you can produce very unique clothing and you jack up the price. Why? Because it's unique. It'll never be like that again. You see what I'm saying? Or toys, you know, any kind of toys. You can mass produce toys like they do now, you know, or you can produce limited edition, you know, unique toys. Again, the imagination is up to you, okay? Now, another thing about AI that you can take advantage of, instead of being a victim to AI, you can take advantage of writing. Did you know that robots now can write stories, and it's indistinguishable from humans? You know, they can be that creative. So let's say I'm a writer. I write novels, right? I write horror stories or whatever subject, you know, romance, okay? How many novels can a human being write, you know, in a year now? If you have to do it, you know, it takes weeks and months, right, for you to come up with a story, you know, for a novel. Well, with artificial intelligence, you can have the artificial intelligence software write a basic framework for a story, and then you come in and you edit it and you add more and this and that and the other. You make it unique, and, you know, so that way you can come out with a lot of stories very quickly. You see what I'm saying? Instead of waiting months and months and months to come out with a novel, you can come out with a novel in a week or two and keep going with the novels, because you have the assistance of artificial intelligence to pre-write it for you, and then you come in and you add stuff, you know, change things around and make it more interesting as a human being and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying? You can have 2 or 3 books in the works at the same time. One would be a horror story, the other one would be romance, the other one would be adventure. You know, you can have the robot write it. You know, you can tell the robot, the artificial intelligence software, write me a book on romance. The setting is in Hawaii. There's a couple that met, in exotic places in Hawaii. They have an adventure, and then the book would be 200 pages long, or however long you want it to be. You tell the robot, and the robot will write it, the basic story, boom, 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 very quickly, all right? And then you take the time to review it, and then you approve, and then boom, publish. You're online, okay? And then on to the next one for you. Next one is about adventure, James Bond, spy, whatever, right? So you see what I'm saying? We can take the means of production and share it with ordinary individual people and help them create a better lifestyle for themselves. You see, we cannot allow the means of production to just be controlled by a few people on top, like now, okay? And it's in the thing about artificial intelligence and robotics is that just like any new technology, it can enhance, it can multiply the problem. Okay, if we have underemployment now, wait until robots, become more and more prevalent, the unemployment problem will be amplified. Or underemployment. So then most people will become even more poor than they are now, if you don't allow them to own robots. Okay, or I shouldn't say allow. There's nothing that would prevent them from owning robots right now, but you can assist. For example, the government guarantees loans now. Well, they've been guaranteeing loans for decades to buy homes, don't they? Right? Because the government knows that the more homeowners there are, the more stable the society is. Less crime, people have something to work towards. They don't go crazy. They don't, cause trouble. In fact, one of the reasons why crime is so high today is because less and less people are able to own homes, because homes become so expensive. Well, the government can do the same thing to assist people to own their own robots by having guaranteed loans. And here's the thing about owning robots that's even better than own real estate. Okay, real estate, there's no guarantee in real estate that if you buy a home that it's gonna even stay at the same price. You might lose. Historically, real estate is good investment because it always goes up, over time. In recent years, you can flip it. It goes up in weeks or months, instead of years. But that's unusual. They manipulate the market. But the thing about owning robots is, if a car company like Toyota or Ford or whatever builds a manufacturing plant to produce cars, you know that you make money, right? Because so then it's easy for the government to guarantee the loan, right? And it's easy for the banks to approve the loan, because the banks say, oh yeah, Ford came into this town, they already built a plant and they're producing this many cars, they're going to sell this many cars. And the beauty of that is that as soon as you produce the doors for Ford, you get paid. You don't care if they are able to sell the cars later. That's their problem, right? But they will sell cars later. Chances are they're going to sell the cars, okay? But that's not your problem, right? As soon as you produce that many doors for the Ford or Toyota or whoever, they pay you. You're done. You're happy, right? Then you can use that money to pay back the loan, right? The monthly payment for the loan, however long the term or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So it's basically almost guaranteed. Nothing in life is guaranteed, but it's very high probability that the banks will get their money back. So it's easy for the government to approve the loan. Say, okay, they might have certain criteria, like they can't approve the loan for just any bum, that has no ambition, no education at all, no degrees at all, and he doesn't know what he's doing and all that stuff. He can't prove that he can run the business. So yeah, he's risky, and you don't approve the loan for him to buy the robot. But for those that have, say, experience in running a small business, or you have educational background on it. You have a degree in business, for example. You have an MBA, and you got straight A's in the MBA. Okay, and you've been working for a while. Okay, so those are the people that the government can easily, or the bank can easily approve for the loan. The government can easily guarantee the loan, and then because they know, and then of course you have to go take a course on how to manage these robots too. Of course, certified course. Once you get that certification from Toyota, whatever, Ford, then they say, okay, you're certified to own this robot. Bam, boom, the loan is approved. Okay, the robot is yours. It's installed in the factory. Stop making doors or whatever else, dashboards or whatever. See what I'm saying? So then you create jobs, you create owners. So everybody, most people in society then would be managers. They'd be CEO of their own robot production company. Okay, so that's how you solve the problem, or you prevent the problem of unemployment or underemployment as a result of the advent of robotics and artificial intelligence taking over all the jobs. Okay, so with that, I hope it joggles your mind. It causes you to start thinking of outside the box, of new ways of solving problems, instead of looking at old ways and only react to what happens. We know what's going to happen. Once the robots take over, it's very difficult to change it back, right? And the result would be like it is today. It's even worse. High unemployment or underemployment. You get a lot of poverty, a lot of homeless people. And as a result, you get a lot of divorces, a lot of fights, a lot of violence, because people are angry. School shootings, road rage. Because people ain't got nothing to lose. If they don't have anything to lose, they're going to do whatever they want to do. But if, they get to own things, they get to produce things, they get to, the money to buy things, to make themselves happy, the society would be more orderly, right? It'd be more meaningful to people. People are nicer to each other because they have, they don't lack, okay? So that's why it's so important for politicians today to step forward, somebody, to listen to what I'm saying with my idea and implement the idea, start making laws to facilitate that, so that when the technology comes, you're ready. Boom, you're in there, okay? People start making money. They start to own these robots, and start making money and support themselves and their family, so that they can prevent this kind of society we have today, where the have and the have-nots are too wide and nobody's in between. So with that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.